Alright, what up, boys and girls? Once again, I'm back for another video. Sorry, this mic, I think the sensitivity needs to be turned way down, so if you hear that buzzing in the background, that's my kid's computer. But I just wanted to share with you this new setup here on TradingView. Basically, if you guys ever follow my videos in the past, you know I'm a fan of these pivot points. And so I've got all the pivot points laid out here. Here's the indicators we're using if you want to copy them. One thing I really liked and I wanted to show everybody was not the pivot points, because we talked about those, but this little thing, this ATR whole moving average. And what I did was I put a VWAP indicator on here. Just type in VWAP, add that on there, and then you can just make it invisible because we don't care about it. But what we want it there for is just to have it as a source for the whole moving average, which is average true range whole moving average, which is really nice. It's going to be kind of like a whole moving average of a super trend that's based on a VWAP. So you're taking what a lot of traders use as VWAP, you're taking that and you're even smoothing it and integrating it with a super trend. That's what I like about it. Anyways, I use the setup here. So source, just make it the VWAP. Middle band, you don't care about these, and then make the length about 25 is what I've been testing out lately. We do about 20 trades with this, see how it works out. I think 25 is pretty solid. It just kind of catches nice trends. I've been using an hourly, and so we'll see how this works. The other indicators I have on here, obviously the pivot points, which is a daily, a weekly, a monthly, and then this blue one is the yearly pivot. So we're just tracking along day by day. You can kind of see, show the historical pivots, how each day has its own like distinct little move that it makes. So that's how we kind of keep track of the trends. Then we're using let's get rid of everything else. We're using the volume profile for the session, which is again on here. So we're using session volume profile. Settings, we got number of rows, 40. The style is, I just color code them like this. The reason I color code the up volume and the down volume grayish is just because I want to see the excess volume areas, because these green and red bars are going to capture 70% of the day's volume. And so you can find some nice trades just checking out the standard distribution of the volume every day and seeing where the excess lows are, so you can catch good dips, such as this one here. And the reason why this is a good dip is because this faked a lot of people out here, this little triangle, I'm pretty sure. A lot of people were hoping for much lower on Bitcoin, so what does Bitcoin do? It just messes with their head and breaks out. So it takes out all the stops right here. This is just my observation here. Takes out all the stops and then busts higher. And honestly, I was sitting here with this anchored VWAP off that second leg from this particular move down where it dumped twice. This triangle was massive, so I had a feeling that this one had a good chance of success. Then it dumped into a smaller triangle, which I thought was a little bit weaker. Didn't suggest as much volatility because it was contracting a little. Anyways, off the low there, I put this anchored VWAP just because this was kind of a big dump for everybody. So it was a time for, I learned this from a kid on Twitter called Anthony O'Hyan. He runs a podcast called Pound the Table. He likes to put these anchored VWAPs at psychological points. And so I thought I'd try that out. I wanted to see if, I did that on several different tickers where we're tracking psychological points or news events, that kind of thing. We're tracking the anchored VWAP from that particular point, and it's going to give us this dynamic level to watch. And so right now this level is rising, which is a really good thing. It held multiple times, and even after the stop run, it held again. And so I thought this was a pretty good area either here to attempt a long, and the reason I attempted a long here, we're going to go to the pivot points, is because we're at a significant level as far as this middle of the month pivot point. So this is a monthly level. These levels trump each other. You got the yearly that's going to trump the monthly. You got the monthly trumping the weekly, and the weeklies you want to respect those levels more than the dailies. And so we're at a monthly level with a smaller, weaker consolidation period. And then we had an anchored VWAP off a big psychological level that's still held. And so you see this level too. You can even play it off of that. Good dip buy right here. And I came in and I bought this whole leg down. These are hourly candles, so I bought this whole leg down, just knowing that at some point this selling is going to become exhausted. And here we are off to the races. We break up above this week's pivot point, main pivot point, which is huge. Now that acts as big support for the week, and we're above the monthly, which held all of this. So we've got lots of respect for these levels here as we bounce up here. I'm going to take these off. So we can look at last week's pivot point. I feel like I say that a lot. It's kind of driving myself nuts here. But last week, we were under the pivot point all week. And that's where this first consolidation period started to develop. Right on this yearly pivot, that's where they were battling it out. And eventually it failed. It retested, failed. Now we're sitting on this smaller pivot point. I don't need this alert anymore. And now we're sitting down here on this monthly. Sorry, I don't even know what I just said. And it came down here to this point. It busted through there. It ran stops twice. Faked a lot of people out. I think a lot of people probably getting, they were leveraged long, getting liquidated here, probably leveraged short here and get destroyed. So just lesson is don't use leverage unless you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just out here literally blabbing because it's fun. And then, anyways, it breaks up. You can see in here where you've got this excess amount for the day. So at some point this might be revisited, but this was basically people going, look, we've already tested this area here. We don't need to mess around in here anymore, right? We've already determined who's the clear winner out of this battle. And so what do? They just rip it right over everything. Not only that it helps that the shorts are getting liquidated on the way up. All right, so then we're back at this level again, yearly pivot, and we're looking to break out on the daily here. So we're at 7 o'clock, a new day starts. So we're at a new day, building a new profile. We're going to see what this volume profile looks like. We've got this big, nice, expansive one here. So we got a big range that could be played in this area. Got a big range here. We don't want to see it back into this little area here because that means it's going to be testing this weekly pivot again, and it's going to be testing this VWAP. We don't want to be messing around with these supports anymore if we want higher. So we're hoping that in the next, let's just break this down here a little bit closer. Have we broken above this? Right now we're in yesterday's excess, tail area as far as volume, and we're starting to build volume there, which is good. So we want to see this volume and this point of control stay up here, above this point of control for more longs. So the longer it stays here, you can tell the longer it stays here, people are more interested in buying above this monthly pivot of 55,277. And our daily targets, if you were looking to buy some Bitcoin today, looking at 56.3 is possible for the next kind of expansion up. And then we add this VWAP, add this hole in here. Let's just check that out. How does that help us here? So look, all along the way here, after we broke this pivot, all along the way, we're just respecting this ATR whole moving average. Nice green line just to say, hey, we're still bullish. We're still bullish, baby, and we don't care. We're about to break out of here. Look at this point of control just moved. Right above it. They just moved the point of control right above this yearly pivot, which that's really good. You want to see that point of control stepping up as we go higher. Once you see that point of control right underneath this pivot right here, you're looking for another leg up to a weekly pivot. 57.8 next on the list for Bitcoin. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this. Don't like and subscribe. Really don't care. Appreciate all the subs. Bye.